Hello and welcome back to the MisAdventures of Miss Lindsey. I am your host, Miss Lindsey. All right, let's dive in. Last week we talked all about my career path and how I started off being a business major and slowly transitioned into being a YouTuber. But there was a long journey in between of becoming a teacher and all that. So if you didn't catch that episode, please make sure you listen to episode 1. It was really good. All right, diving into episode 2. All right, today we are talking about collecting. As you can see behind me is part of my Star Wars collection. Yeah. Let's talk about collecting. All right. So, when I was a kid, we're all kids. We collect things, right? Or we think we're collecting things. I collected Barbies. I had various other things that my grandmother gave me, or my great-grandma gave me, little trinkets here and there, stuffed animals, Cabbage Patch. But I didn't really collect anything. Like, it was all toys that I played with. It wasn't really a collection. When I think of a collection, I think of things that we are not touching. And there were a few things that I wasn't touching. Like, I had this doll. It was a cheapy plastic doll that my great-grandmother gave me for like Christmas or something. And I remember my grandma saying to me when she gave it to me that, grandma didn't really know what to get you, and she got you this doll, and, you should treasure it. She's not going to be around forever. At that point, she's already really old and living in a nursing home, I believe, at the time. And, I just thought the world of that doll. Like, I kept my grandmother's words in my head, and I kept that doll in the box forever. Forever. I mean, I was an adult, and that doll was still in the box. And it was probably something that came from the dollar store. But it meant something to me. So I kept it inside the box. And then later on, when I grew up and I had kids of my own, I gave it to my oldest daughter. I was like, I don't need this anymore. I've had it forever. Sitting around in the closet, collecting dust, taking up space. I just didn't need it anymore. So I gave it to her, and I really don't even know what happened after that. It's probably toast. It's probably long gone. I don't know. Thanks, Grandma McClung, for giving me that doll. But, I held on to it for a really long time. But anyway, as a kid, that's kind of the extent of my collection. I collected things, but they were mostly things that I played with or things that had some kind of nostalgic meaning to me. And that's it. I didn't really have a collection, like a real collection, where like I'm collecting stuff for like, value. I collected just various dumb things. Like, I remember Little Debbie's little snack cakes. When I was little, they had president trading cards. I know, it was weird. On the back of the box, of all things. And you could cut them out and keep them. I had a whole set of those. I know my dad was kind of into collecting stuff. He collected Richard Petty memorabilia. He's really into car racing, really liked him. I remember my mom had to go shop for groceries at Food Lion, which was a local grocery store way back when. I'm not even sure if those are around anymore. And my mom had to go shopping there because they had these exclusive Richard Petty trading cards that came in plastic wrap, and they were situated in a way where you could not tell which cards you actually got. So you don't even really know if you have a whole set unless you open them. So my dad was obsessed with collecting them. My mom had to go every week and collect those for him. And they were all, I believe they were all different colors and they were different race stadiums. I'm not really sure, but he just had to have a whole set. I don't think those things are really worth anything at this point, but I think my dad still has them. But where I'm going with this is collecting as a kid, you don't really know what you're doing, and a lot of the stuff that you're collecting isn't really worth anything. I mean, I think we've all had a coin collection, just random coins from wherever. I remember being a kid and I had a little Mickey Mouse piggy bank and I filled it up with like coins that I got from like around the world. Not really like around the world, but like, you know how you got change back in the day when you used cash? And the cashier would give you back change, like coins. Sometimes she would give you back foreign currency. And I remember being fascinated by it. Like, it's probably the dumbest stuff ever, but I kept it in my little piggy bank. And it was fun. It was cool to like get it out and look at it every once in a while, see what you had in there. But I wasn't taking any of it seriously. I wasn't looking to invest in something. I wasn't looking for value in things. I was just simply collecting things that I liked and that, you know, meant something to me or were fun. As we all do, we get to that awkward tween stage or maybe more of a teenage stage, and you do what I call the great purge. You get rid of all of those kiddie items that you don't need or really want anymore. Including all of your toys, just things that you really seriously don't want anymore. You haven't played with, you haven't touched. They don't mean anything to you anymore. And so I remember getting rid of all of my stuffed animals, all of my Barbies, everything, just getting rid of all of it. Giving it to charity so that, kids that didn't have toys could have. It was just like, get rid of it, get it out of my room. And then, of course, like later on, you sort of have regrets about those things, but I still kept a few of my stuffed animals and things, and I gave them to my children when, I had them. But, you have this great purge of stuff, and yeah, then you're just down to like, I'm too cool for this. So a lot of time went by, and I didn't really collect anything. So a lot of time went by and I didn't really collect anything seriously. I didn't have any sort of real collection going on. I just didn't. I tried to be like more of a minimalist, if you will. Like, just, I don't need it. I don't want it. Let me get it out of here. So every year, I don't know if it was around spring, but let's call it spring cleaning. I would just go through all of my stuff and just get rid of it. And I did that for years. I even did that with my kids' stuff. Like when they weren't home. I know it's rotten, right? When they weren't home, I would go through their stuff and just get rid of it. Probably do that again this summer when they're not here. But anyway, time went on. I did that. The whole thing. Get rid of stuff. Not holding on to anything. No value, no nothing. And then as an adult, I met my spouse in 2018, I believe, is when I met them. And yeah, my spouse is a collector. Comic books, Funko Pops, trinkets and whatnots, all kinds of stuff. So I got back into it. I got sucked back into collecting stuff. I tried to keep it to things that meant something to me that I really enjoyed and like. But eventually, like anything, it becomes a little bit of an obsession and a little bit carried away with things that are going on. So we collect Funko Pops, we collect Lego sets, we collected all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can look behind me if you can see any of this Funko and Lego and other Star Wars memorabilia. I think I shared last week that I run a Star Wars YouTube channel as well. And a lot of this stuff is featured on there. I use it for set design, all that good stuff. So yeah, as an adult, I got back into it. I got back into it big time. The Mandalorian came out, not like a couple years ago now. And we decided we were going to collect all of the Funko Pops for the Mandalorian show. So we got all of season 1, all of them. It was a lot of variations of Mando, a lot of variations of Grogu or Baby Yoda at the time. All of the characters, Cara Dune, Moff Gideon, Grief Karga, Queel, all of them. Done. Big collection. We hunted down rare ones that you could only get at certain stores. We got ones that you could only get through subscription services, whatever. Like, we had all of them for season 1. Season 2 comes out. More popular than ever. They really went hard on the pops, especially with Grogu. Oh my God. Grogu everywhere. There was Grogu with his eyes closed. There was Grogu with his arm extended using the Force. There was Grogu with a cookie. There was Grogu with the thing on it, that monster thing on his face from the soup. There was Grogu with a frog in his mouth. There was Grogu smiling. Okay, you get the point. There was tons of Grogu. So when you walked into this room is our office. We have our computers here. My computer's sitting right here in front of me now to look at notes, but most of the time it's over there. My desk, my spouse's computer's over here. This is our workspace. When you walk in here, or when you did walk in here, there was a lot of Mandalorian stuff. I mean, I don't know if you can see this shelf up here, but that shelf still has Mandalorian stuff on it. It has a couple Lego sets over here, Black Series figure, giant pop, brick heads, helmet, all of it going on back there. But put on top of all the stuff that you can see right there, and put all of those pops that I mentioned. Mando with Beskar, Mando without Beskar, Mando with his helmet, Grogu with his eyes closed, Cookie, Frog, all of that stuff. So when you walked into this room, you would have thought that the Mandalorian was our absolute favorite thing in the world. And it's not. I love the Mandalorian. I love Mando, Grogu, all of it. I do. I really do. I'm a Star Wars fan. I love all of the stuff, and I love that show. But I don't love it so much that it should be the highlight of my office. No, it should not be. I don't like it that much. So where I'm going with this is when you walked in here, you would have thought that it was my favorite thing. And it's not. My favorite movie is Rogue One. I like Revenge of the Sith. I like Attack of the Clones. I really love Padme Amidala as a character. She's my favorite. I love Darth Vader. I love all of that stuff. Princess Leia. I am not that big of a Mando fan. Like, I like him. I do. I like Grogu. I like the whole story. I'm obsessed. But I do not need my entire office being Mandalorian themed. I just don't. And that's kind of what happened. We have this big shelf up here. I had a bunch of cubbies over here filled with Mando stuff. and it was just too much. I had stuff out in my YouTube studio for my Star Wars channel, which is just outside of this room in my dining room space. And it was so much. It was so much I didn't even know what I was going to do with all of it. And more just kept coming out. And my spouse is kind of a completionist. They want to have all the things. If there's a span of stuff, and let's say there's 20 pops that are part of season 1, and there's 20 pops a part of season 2, they want all of them. All of them. They say that I have all of them. My mind doesn't work that way. I'm just like, there's too much stuff. Yeah. So we ended up having this huge Mando collection, along with Galaxy's Edge stuff, which is what I actually cover on my Star Wars channel. We have Fallen Order stuff. We have stuff from the prequels, the original trilogy. I have so much stuff. I mean, you can't even see what I'm looking at in front of me. Over to the right here is just the majority of our collection, and it's a lot. We have all of the canon comics, trades, all of it. It's a lot. So where I'm going with this is we had so much Mando stuff, and it was like literally taking up so much room. And it's not either one of our favorite things. My spouse is a big fan of the original trilogy. Loves it. I like the prequels, and I like Rogue One. I like Darth Vader. I don't need a ton of Mandalorian stuff. So we were talking, and we decided to part with the Mandalorian stuff. I know. It was hard. It really, really was. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know what I said. I said when you walk in here, it was like Mando. And I'm not really that into it. Like, I like it. Don't get me wrong. But it's not my favorite part of Star Wars. And that's kind of where my problem with it came from. So I decided on a whim, without even telling my spouse I was doing this. We had already spoken about it, but I didn't confirm that I was going to go. I took our stuff to the comic book store and I sold it. Now, previous to this, if we rewind, my spouse was big into Pokemon Pops. You know the saying, gotta catch 'em all. And I just told you they're completionist. So having all of the Pokemon was a big deal. We had all the regular ones. We had the flocked ones that are a little furry, like, little bit of fur on them. We had the silver edition ones, the diamond edition ones, all of them. And there were so many. Not just like Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, but all of the extra ones too, like all the different seasons of it. So many. I can't even tell you how many there were. And what happened was my spouse ordered a Vaporeon, a diamond Vaporeon. Vaporeon, if you aren't familiar with Pokemon, is an evolution of Eevee. And this one was a diamond one, so it was sparkly. And yeah, my spouse was excited about this pop. They ordered it from Barnes & Noble and, as a pre-order, and was so excited about it. Like having all of the things made my spouse so excited. So one day, close to launch on this pop, Barnes & Noble canceled the pre-order. No explanation, no reason why, no nothing. They just canceled it. Pops came out, and that one became impossible to find. Couldn't find it anywhere for a reasonable price. Now, I don't remember exactly how much it was, but let's say it was $15 when you pre-ordered it from the store. The thing was going for over $100 on eBay. And that was about the only place that you could find it. And at that point, my spouse was like, I don't need these things anymore. I can't get all of them. It's driving me nuts. Why don't we just sell them? And I was like, are you sure? Because once we do that, they're gone. All of them are gone. So our middle daughter, who's also a bit of a hoarder, a little bit, decided that she wanted to keep a few of them. So she picked out the ones that she wanted and took them to her room. And then I was left with, let's just say there was like 20 of them. I don't know how many there were. Anyway, I took them to the comic book store and I sold them. And I got $300 for all of them. Now, could I have gotten more money selling them individually on eBay? Probably, but I didn't want to deal with eBay. I didn't want to deal with shipping. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to take them all to one place, the comic book store, and make them deal with it. So I took it. I went with it, had the money. It was great. Now, fast forward back to Mando. All right, so I have this huge collection. They're all mine because it's my Star Wars channel. I reviewed them. I used them for set design, all of that. I had to decide, do I really want these or do I really want the money instead? And I didn't really know how much any of this was worth. I probably should have looked it up before I went to the store, but I went to our trusted comic book store and they know us there. And I don't think they're going to try to rip me off. They took gave us a good price for the Pokemon. I figured, hey, same thing for Mando. Let's do it. So I took them all down there. There were 5 reusable grocery bags. 5. I took all of them there. Actually, I had missed a few, and let's get back to that in a little bit. I took all that I could find, and I took them to the comic book store. They priced them all out, and I got $600 for them. Yeah, I was impressed. Now, could I have gotten more? Sure. But again, I'd have to deal with eBay or another service similar to that. I'd have to deal with shipping. And if you know a collector, they get upset if the box is messed up. I know us as collectors would get upset if a box got torn or if they only had one pop on the shelf and we really wanted it and the box was messed up. So, yeah, I get it. But I didn't want to deal with any of that stuff. So I took them, sold them, took the money, done. Then I get home, I tell my spouse about it, and they are so excited and inspired. So we decided to part with more of our collection. We had all of the movie Aquaman pops. We had all of the Guardians of the Galaxy. We had the gold ones. We had some Marvel. We had a whole box that was in the garage, like a plastic tub, that had tons of Marvel and just random collector core pops that we just didn't even have on display. They were literally in the garage, so I took those too. I also found 3 more Mando pops that I had missed that were hiding behind a box. I had some Black Series figures and they were behind those. That's how many I had. I had them hidden in different areas of the room. So I took them with all of the others and sold them and got just under $300 for all of them. So all in all, we made about $900 off of our pops. And then going back to the comic book store afterwards, aftermath of it all, seeing my collection on their shelf on display, there was a sign. It said Star Wars Rare Funko Pops. And there were my pops. It was crazy. I took a picture. I made a little bit of a video. I don't know. I think I'm going to make a reel out of it. It was crazy to see things that I had at my house in my collection with price tags on them, labeled as rare, hanging out at the comic book store for other people to buy. It was insane. So there are some problems with collecting, as you can see. People collect for many different reasons. I just recently watched a really good YouTube documentary style video about limited run games and how they appeal to collectors and somewhat take advantage of them. I'm not going to get into that, and I'm not going to rip a company a new one. That's not what this podcast is for. But people do collect things for different reasons. You collect things for nostalgic value. You collect things to invest in them and sell them later. You collect them because having things makes you feel better. Having all of the things really makes you feel better. I mean, it just depends on the person and the situation, but there's lots of reasons why people collect things. Tons of reasons why. And the problem is when you can't get the thing that you wanted. Like, my spouse couldn't get the Diamond Vaporeon. We just couldn't. We couldn't justify spending that much money to get it, and we couldn't get it because our order got canceled. So to my spouse, it was like, there's no point in having this collection if I can't have that thing. And that same thing happened when we were collecting Lego sets. Lego, every once in a while, puts out their own theme. Like, there's Lego City and Lego Friends. This theme was called Hidden Side. And it was pretty cool, I'll admit. It was like a regular build, like a high school or a truck or a fire truck or whatever. And you could sort of almost transform it by pushing like a button or something on it and make it look scary, like with teeth or, you know, turning into sort of a monsterish looking thing. It was really kind of strange, but very cool at the same time. Anyway, the sets, you could an app, and you're supposed to be able to use your phone or an iPad and look at the set through the camera on the app, and it was supposed to sort of transform it and make it look spooky. And I'm really not sure exactly what happens with that, but we never really played around with the app. But we had all of the sets, and we missed one because of COVID-19. COVID-19 kind of ruined collecting for a lot of people. It was really hard to get a hold of certain things because they just either weren't making them or they were making them, but it was so limited on the release and shipping and all of the stuff that was happening that you just sometimes didn't get the thing that you wanted. So yeah, it was a problem. We missed out on a set. This, I think it was a castle. Pretty sure it was a castle. And my spouse was so upset about missing out on that set. Like, we had seen it at the store several times before the pandemic shut everything down. And then we just couldn't get it anymore. They stopped making it. They canceled the series, the theme, and it was impossible to find these things. And when you did find one on, say, like eBay or Bricklink or whatever, it was really expensive, like triple the price. And there was no way we were ever going to get one. Like, we just couldn't justify spending that much money on a set that really wasn't that cool. spending that much money on it was just ridiculous. So because we couldn't get that one set, just like when we couldn't get the Vaporeon, my spouse decided to sell all of it. So we did. We went to Bricks and Minifigs, which is in Wesley Chapel, Florida, about 2 hours from our house, and we sold our Hidden Side sets, all of them, and walked out of there with cash money. It was hard for my spouse to do that. We had worked hard on getting all of the poly bags, all of the sets, all of the minifigures, everything, part of that theme. And we parted with all of it. And it was a little crazy. So there are lots of problems with collecting. Lots and lots. One of the things that was pointed out to me in that documentary YouTube video that I watched was when companies put out collector editions of stuff. And of course, the documentary YouTube video I was watching was about video games. So they were talking about various video games and the special editions that they make of them. And one of the ones that's coming to my mind that I actually kind of dealt with was when Cyberpunk 2077 was coming out. They had several editions of that game. So not just the game, but you ended up with a book, or you ended up with a statue or stickers or this or that, all came with it. And it could add up to a couple $100 that you're paying for the game and all of the stuff that comes with it. So in the video we were watching, that was happening. They were marketing things as limited edition, appealing to that collector mindset, and then charging people so much money for something that really shouldn't be that much money. It was insane. I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my God, we have fallen into that trap a few times with collecting stuff. And it was so much. So getting rid of the clutter in our house was a big deal. Our collections have been whittled down to what I call a streamlined collection. So we're only collecting things that really mean something to us. Like, I don't know if you can see on my desk back here, I have Harley Quinn and Scarlet Witch pops. And I think there's a Vision pop back there too. I really like Vision and the Scarlet Witch. Love it. Loved it before WandaVision, but I really love it now. And I love Harley Quinn. So I have that collection. I have an 80s collection it consists of Barbie, Back to the Future, Popples, He-Man, and She-Ra. Those are all things I grew up with, and they're all things that mean something to me. So for me to have those things is okay in my eyes. I like it. My spouse is big into Ghostbusters. So we have a lot of Ghostbusters action figures. I don't know what the line is. I think it's called the Plasma line. We have all of those and a few others that mean something to them. We have Disney Princess Pops and Haunted Mansion stuff and Thunder Mountain stuff. Those are all things that mean something to us. We are big Disney fans. We love rides there and characters there. And yeah, I mean, it's our thing. So the things that we have now that are left are things that we truly enjoy and really want. The things that we got rid of during our great purge of getting rid of clutter ended up being things that we just simply didn't need, really didn't want, and we just had. They were taking up valuable, what I would call real estate, and it wasn't worth it to keep those things around. So, where I'm going with all of this is it's okay to collect things. If you're a collector, awesome. I'm a collector too. I love Black Series figures and pops and and that's about it. I mean, there are other things that I have here. We're getting ready to sell a bunch of our comic books. We have a lot of comic books. Yeah, I mean, being a collector is not a bad thing. Collecting too many things, in my opinion, is a bad thing. For me, it's about the things that I truly care about, things that I really want, things that I get happiness from. If I wasn't getting joy from it, I don't remember the name of the lady that said, if you hold something in your hand and it doesn't bring you joy, it needs to go. It was kind of like that with our collectibles. So if it doesn't bring us joy, it's going to go. Anyway, it's been a great chat about collecting. I know it's like a random thing, but I was really inspired by that YouTube documentary video that we watched, and also just the great purge of our Mando collection and how it hurt to do, but it was so worth it. It really was worth it. So anyway, if you're a collector, awesome. Why don't you comment and let me know, what is it that you're collecting? Have you collected something in the past and sold it? Let me know down in the comments. Would love to know. All right, well, that is it for today. Thanks for diving in with me. All right, well, it's been a pleasure talking to all of you. I hope you are enjoying this podcast so far. I'm definitely enjoying making it for you. Please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, helps spread the word, helps grow the channel, helps me make more content for you. I will catch you on the next one.